First contact fallacy. The command chamber of the Sovereign Dominance pulsed with a soft violet glow, illuminating the scaled features of Grand Strategist Vex Moore as he presented the conquest assessment to the assembled high command of the Velox Imperium. Holographic displays showed a small blue-green planet, third from an unremarkable yellow star in the spiral arm of a thoroughly average galaxy. The species calls itself human, Vex Moore explained, his voice a harmonious blend of clicks and deep resonance. They have achieved rudimentary space travel, established a few outposts on neighboring celestial bodies, and have only recently discovered quantum communications. Their military capabilities are primarily chemical-based projectiles, with limited nuclear options and experimental energy weapons. Supreme Commander Zixthal, his obsidian exoskeleton gleaming under the projection lights, circled the holographic display with predatory interest. 8 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of amusement among the Velox. Primitive, Zixthal declared, mandibles clicking softly. What is your conquest timeline assessment, Grand Strategist? Vex Moore straightened to his full 3-meter height. Our simulations suggest complete planetary subjugation in 56 hours, Supreme Commander. Their technological inferiority is profound. They still rely on digital computing rather than quantum neural networks. Their most advanced fighters would be laughably outmatched by our scout vessels. A ripple of clicking, the Velox equivalent of laughter, spread through the command chamber. These humans have unified their planet under various nations rather than a single authority, continued Vex Moore, which further weakens their response capabilities. They spend as much time fighting among themselves as they do advancing their technologies. Zixthal's primary claws snapped together decisively. Prepare the invasion fleet. We will add this Earth to the Imperium's resources. Their water reserves alone make them valuable, not to mention the heavy metals in their crust. Standard Conquest Protocol, Supreme Commander, asked Fleet Admiral Kravix. Yes, 3 waves, as always. First wave neutralizes orbital defenses and eliminates space-based military assets. Second wave destroys ground-based military installations and government centers. Third wave manages the occupation and resource extraction. The Velox Imperium has conquered 43 worlds using this strategy. There is no reason to deviate. As the High Command dispersed to prepare for yet another seemingly routine conquest, none of them noticed the tiny anomaly in their long-range scans, a fluctuation in the quantum field surrounding Earth that appeared, inexplicably, to be watching them back. Admiral Kashira Patel stood at the viewport of the United Earth Defense Force Command Station Vigilance, orbiting at Lagrange Point L4, perfectly hidden from conventional detection systems. At 53, her face bore the calm confidence of someone who had spent her career preparing for a day she hoped would never come. They're on schedule, reported Commander Jason Chen, approaching with a data tablet. The Velox fleet has entered the Kuiper Belt. Initial count confirms approximately 15,000 vessels, arranged in their standard 3-wave formation. Patil nodded, unsurprised. And they still don't suspect we know they're coming. No, Admiral. Operation Glasshouse has kept our true capabilities successfully obscured. Their communications remain compromised. They are still discussing a 56-hour victory timeline. A slight smile crossed Patil's face. 56 hours. That's actually rather generous of them. Most species don't last 12 hours against the Velox, Chen noted. They've been conquering worlds for over 2,000 years. They're very efficient at it. Not efficient enough, Patil replied, turning to face the holographic battle map that showed the true extent of Earth's defenses. Defenses the Velox scanners couldn't detect. Not this time. She addressed the bridge crew. Status of operation checkmate. All systems green. Admiral, reported Lieutenant Commander Sofia Rodriguez from Tactical. Quantum mirrors are in position and calibrated. Ghost Fleet is standing by. Guardian Network is fully operational with distributed control across all nodes. And the Velox still haven't detected our key field generators. No, Admiral. As far as their sensors can determine, we have exactly what they expect to see: a handful of primitive orbital platforms and approximately 300 spacecraft, most with chemical propulsion. Patel's expression hardened. They see what we want them to see. Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak when you are strong provides tactical advantage. She turned to communications. Send to all Earth Defense Forces. Operation Checkmate is now active. This is not a drill. Supreme Commander Zixthal watched with satisfaction as the first wave of 5,000 Velox warships emerged from fold space near the orbit of Mars. Their sensors immediately began cataloging Earth's defenses. First wave successfully deployed, his tactical officer reported, detecting primitive orbital platforms and a small collection of military vessels. No coordinated response detected. Human communications show increased activity, but no effective defensive preparations. As expected, Zixthal said with mandibles clicking in anticipation, begin targeting sequence for their orbital platforms and military bases. Targeting systems engage, Supreme Commander. Firing solutions in 3-2. The tactical officer fell silent, staring at his console with confusion. Report, Zixthal demanded. Supreme Commander, I'm detecting anomalies. Our sensors show thousands of new contacts suddenly appearing throughout the system. Impossible, Zixthal snapped. Their fleet consists of fewer than 300 vessels. These are not appearing from fold space, Commander. They're just appearing, as if they were always there but somehow masked from our sensors. The holographic display updated, and Zixthal felt his primary heart stutter. Where moments ago the space around Earth had shown only a scattering of defensive platforms and a small collection of military vessels, now thousands of warships had appeared, surrounding the Velox first wave. A trick, he hissed. Some sort of sensor ghost or projection. Negative, Supreme Commander. These are physical vessels, and they're targeting our ships. Before Zixthal could respond, the first reports of destruction came in. Velox dreadnoughts, the pride of the Imperium fleet, were exploding, not one by one, but dozens at a time. Weapons fire that seemed to bypass their shields entirely was tearing through their hulls. What is happening? Zixthal demanded, his composure cracking. What weapons are they using? Unknown, Supreme Commander. The energy signatures don't match any known technology in our database. These aren't conventional weapons. It's as if space itself is being weaponized against our ships. Zixthal stared in disbelief as the tactical display showed more and more of his first wave blinking out of existence. Launch the second wave. Now. The second wave of Velox ships emerged from fold space only to find themselves similarly surrounded by human vessels that seemed to materialize from nothing. Sir, the communications officer interrupted, voice trembling. We're receiving a transmission from the humans. Put it through, Zixthal ordered, mandibles clicking in agitation. The holographic display shifted to show a human female with dark skin and silver-streaked black hair, wearing a blue uniform adorned with insignia of rank. This is Admiral Kashira Patel of the United Earth Defense Force, she said, her voice calm and measured. You should be aware that your invasion has failed. Your first and second waves are already being neutralized. Your communications have been compromised for months. We've been listening to your plans since you first detected our system. This is impossible, Zixthal snarled. What trickery is this? No trickery, Commander Zixthal. Just a fundamental misunderstanding on your part. You believed you were dealing with a primitive species because that's what we wanted you to believe. You saw what we wanted you to see. You cannot defeat the Velox Imperium. We have conquered 43 worlds. Admiral Patel smiled thinly. Yes, we know all about your conquests. We've been studying you for years. Ever since you destroyed the Centaurian outpost at Proxima, we knew you'd eventually come for Earth. We've been preparing. On the tactical display, Zixthal watched in horror as the count of destroyed Velox vessels continued to climb. Over 2,000 ships lost in minutes. 3,000. 4,000. Your quantum phase shields are impressive technology, Patel continued, but they're based on a flawed understanding of 11-dimensional space. Our quantum mirror technology doesn't try to penetrate your shields. It simply creates a localized fold in spacetime that places our weapons inside your ships before they're fired. Zixthel's tactical officer turned to him, mandibles drooping in shock. Supreme Commander, we've lost the entire first wave. Second wave losses at 70% and climbing. Patel's expression remained neutral. You have a choice, Commander. Withdraw your remaining forces immediately, or we will be forced to eliminate them as well. You have 5 minutes to decide. The transmission ended, leaving the war chamber in shocked silence. Launch the third wave, Zixthel ordered, his voice a dangerous hiss. All ships, maximum dispersion pattern. Target their planet directly. If we cannot conquer them, we will make them suffer. The tactical officer hesitated. Supreme Commander, given their demonstrated capabilities. The tactical officer hesitated. Supreme Commander, given their demonstrated capabilities. Do it. Zixthel roared. The Velox Imperium does not retreat. We do not surrender. Launch everything we have. Admiral Patel watched the tactical display as the third wave of 10,000 Velox ships emerged from fold space, spreading out across the solar system in an attempt to avoid the fate of the earlier waves. They're going for a desperation strike, Commander Chen observed. Maximum dispersion to try to get at least some ships through for planetary bombardment. Patel nodded. Predictable. Activate the Guardian Network. Throughout the solar system, from the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, from the surface of Mars, from asteroids and seemingly empty space, energy signatures began to emanate as Earth's final defensive system came online. Guardian Network active, Rodriguez reported. All nodes responding. On the tactical display, ripples of distorted space appeared around the dispersed Velox vessels. Ships began to vanish, not exploding, but simply ceasing to exist. How many will we take? Patel asked quietly. At current efficiency, the Guardian Network will neutralize 96.4% of the remaining Velox fleet, Rodriguez responded. Recommendations for the survivors. Patel considered for a moment. Leave their command ship intact, and enough escorts for them to limp home. Someone needs to deliver our message. In just under 18 minutes from first contact, the mighty armada of the Velox Imperium, undefeated for 2 millennia, had been reduced to Zixthel's command ship and a handful of scattered vessels. Admiral Patel appeared on the screen again. Your 56-hour prediction was off by quite a margin, Commander, she said quietly. The remaining Velox vessels have been spared as a courtesy. You will return to your territory and deliver a message to the Velox Imperium. Earth is off limits. Any future aggression against humanity or our allies will result in consequences far beyond what you witnessed today. Zixthel could only stare in stunned silence as the transmission ended. His tactical officer approached cautiously. Supreme Commander, your orders? Zixthel's mandibles clicked softly as he responded. Set course for the Imperium core. Maximum speed. And the invasion. There is no invasion, Zixthel said, his voice hollow. There is only retreat. In the darkness of space, the remaining Velox ships limped away from Earth, leaving behind the debris of their shattered invasion and the death of their reputation as the galaxy's unstoppable conquerors. They had predicted 56 hours to victory. The humans had needed 18 minutes to defeat them. The final gambit. The High Council chamber of the Velox Imperium had never known such silence. 12 High Councilors sat motionless as Supreme Commander Zixthel's battle recording concluded, showing the complete annihilation of the most powerful invasion force ever assembled in Velox history. Impossible, whispered High Councilor Raxver, his carapace pale with shock. No species has ever repelled a full Imperium invasion, especially not a species at their developmental stage. And yet, Zixthel responded, his voice hollow, the evidence is irrefutable. The humans defeated our forces in 18 minutes, not the 56 hours our intelligence predicted, not even a single day. 18 minutes. The chamber erupted into a cacophony of clicking mandibles and vibrating vocal sacs as the counselors argued over the implications. Grand strategist Vex Moore, whose career had been built on flawless conquest predictions, remained conspicuously silent. "How?" demanded Counselor Traslore, slamming her primary claw against the obsidian table. "How could our intelligence be so catastrophically wrong?" Zixthal's 8 eyes blinked in sequence. "The humans deliberately missiled us. They have been aware of our existence, our technologies, and our conquest patterns for years. While we observed them, they were studying us. They presented a technological facade, primitive spacecraft, basic weapon systems, limited planetary defenses, all to lure us into a trap." "And their true capabilities?" asked Raxvar. "Beyond anything we have encountered," Zixthal admitted. "They possess technology that renders our quantum phase shields useless. They can hide entire fleets from our most advanced sensors. They have weapons that don't merely destroy matter. They remove it from existence." The council chamber fell silent again as the implications sank in. For 2,000 years, the Velox Imperium had expanded unchecked across the galaxy, conquering species far more advanced than humans appeared to be. Their technological superiority had been absolute, unchallenged. Until now. The human admiral delivered a message. Zixthal continued. "Earth is to be considered off-limits. Any further aggression will result in consequences far beyond what we witnessed." "A threat?" hissed Counselor Krasver, his war crest flaring. "They dare threaten the Imperium. They earned that right when they destroyed 15,000 of our ships." Vex Moore finally spoke, his voice subdued. "With minimal losses." Zixthal's mandibles clicked in agitation. "I have spent the journey back reviewing every second of the engagement. They could have destroyed us completely. They chose not to. They left survivors deliberately to deliver their message. So we are to simply accept this humiliation?" Krasver demanded. "Allow a single planet to defy the Imperium. What of the other 43 worlds under our control? If word spreads of our defeat—" "When word spreads," corrected Raxver, "such news cannot be contained." Zixthal straightened to his full height. "Counselors, I did not return merely to report our defeat. I returned to request authorization for the extinction protocol." The chamber went deathly quiet. In 2 millennia of conquest, the extinction protocol had been authorized only twice, both times against species that had inflicted significant losses on the Imperium, but were still ultimately defeated. "You wish to obliterate their planet?" Raxver asked carefully, after witnessing their defensive capabilities. "Not their planet," Zixthal clarified. "Their star. We position fold space generators around their sun and collapse it into a quantum singularity. No defense can stop that. No matter how advanced their technology, they cannot survive their star being transformed into a black hole." Grand strategist Vex Moore's voice cut through the murmurs of consideration. "And if they detect our approach? If they have technologies we haven't yet seen? We would be risking not just another defeat, but potential retaliation against the Imperium itself." Zixthal's mandibles clicked dismissively. "They are still just one world, regardless of their technology. The Imperium spans 43 star systems. They cannot match our resources." "Perhaps," said a new voice, "you should ask me about that directly, Supreme Commander." The council chamber's primary view screen activated unbidden, displaying the face of Admiral Kashira Patel. Behind her stood other humans in what appeared to be a command center. "How?" began Zixthal, mandibles clicking rapidly in shock. "Your quantum communication network has been compromised for years," Patel explained calmly. "We've been listening to your deliberations since you returned to Imperium space." "Impossible," snarled Krasver. "Our communications are encrypted using 30-dimensional quantum algorithms." A human male stepped forward beside Patel. Your encryption is based on a flawed understanding of quantum topology. Dr. Nadia Volkov identified the vulnerabilities 17 years ago. Who are you? Demanded Zixthal. Dr. Marcus Chen, Chief Science Officer of the United Earth Defense Force. The man replied. And to address your earlier statement, Supreme Commander, humanity is not confined to one world. We have simply allowed you to believe that. The view screen expanded to show a galactic map with highlighted systems. To the Council's collective shock, almost a third of the galaxy was marked in Earth blue. While the Velox Imperium was conquering 43 worlds through brute force, Paddle continued, humanity has been quietly establishing cooperative relationships with over 700 civilizations across the galaxy. We prefer collaboration to conquest. It's more efficient. You lie, Zixthal hissed. This is psychological warfare. I understand your skepticism, Paddle responded. After all, your species judges advancement primarily through military technology. But consider this. The quantum mirror technology that defeated your invasion fleet, that came from a collaborative research project with the Meridian Collective. The Guardian network that removed your ships from existence. Co-developed with the Cygnus consciousness, we advance through cooperation, not subjugation. The council chamber erupted into chaotic debate, mandibles clicking furiously as the councilors argued about the implications. Silence, commanded Zixthal. He turned back to the screen. If what you claim is true, why reveal yourselves now? Why not simply destroy us? For the first time, Admiral Patel's expression softened slightly. Because despite your aggression, we believe in second chances. The Velox Imperium has existed for over 2,000 years. You've developed art, philosophy, science. Your conquest protocol is misguided, but your civilization has value. You speak of mercy. Zixthal's mandibles clicked in what might have been confusion. After we attempted to conquer your world. I speak of potential, Paddle corrected. Your extinction protocol would fail. Supreme Commander, we have contingencies that would not only prevent it but would trigger an automatic response that would collapse the quantum stability of your home system. We don't want that. Dr. Chen stepped forward again. We are transmitting data now on thousands of uninhabited worlds suitable for Velox colonization. Worlds rich in resources your species values. Worlds you can claim without bloodshed. And in exchange, asked Councillor Raxvar, voicing what everyone was thinking. The Velox Imperium will cease all conquests, Paddle stated firmly. You will release the 43 worlds currently under your control to self-governance. You will join the Galactic Cooperative as equals, not conquerors. Or, Zixthal's voice was dangerously quiet. There is no or, Commander, Paddle said, her tone final. There is only the path forward I've described, or the end of the Velox Imperium. We'd prefer the former, but we are prepared for the latter. The choice is yours. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. After what seemed an eternity, Grand Strategist Vex Moore spoke. I believe their claims. The level of technological sophistication required to penetrate our communications, to defeat our fleet so thoroughly, to monitor our deliberations across interstellar distances, it suggests capabilities far beyond what we witnessed in the failed invasion. You suggest surrender, Krasver sneered, abandoning 2,000 years of Imperium expansion. I suggest survival, Vex Moore replied calmly, and perhaps evolution. Zixthal remained silent, his 8 eyes fixed on the star map still displayed on the screen, the vast blue expanse of human influence dwarfing the tiny purple section representing the Imperium. We have been conquering worlds because it was easy, he finally said. Because we could. Because no one could stop us. His mandibles clicked softly. Until now. He turned to face the council. I have seen what the humans can do with a fraction of their capabilities. I do not wish to discover what they might do if truly provoked. For the first time in our history, the Velox Imperium faces a force it cannot defeat through conquest. So we capitulate. asked Raxver. No, Zixthal responded. We adapt. As all successful species must. The humans offer a new path, one where we might continue to thrive without the constant expansion through conquest. He straightened to his full height. I move that the Imperium accept the humans' terms, not as surrender, but as strategic realignment. One by one, the councilors cast their votes, some reluctantly, some with obvious relief. When the final vote was tallied, the decision was made. The Velox Imperium would end its conquests and join the Galactic Cooperative. 6 months later, Admiral Kashira Patel stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Cooperative as the Velox delegation, led by former Supreme Commander Zixthal, now Ambassador Zixthal, took their seats among representatives from hundreds of civilizations. They're adapting remarkably well, observed Commander Chen, standing beside her. The transitional governments on the former conquest worlds report minimal Velox resistance, and their scientific contributions to the cooperative have already proven valuable. Patel nodded. They've been warriors for 2,000 years. Now they're finding new ways to prove their worth. Do you think they'll ever attempt conquest again? Patel watched as Zixthal engaged in animated discussion with representatives from the Meridian Collective, former enemies now cautiously collaborating on a joint research project. No, she said with quiet confidence. They came to Earth expecting an easy victory, a simple conquest of a primitive species. Instead, they discovered a galaxy far more complex and interconnected than they ever imagined. For an intelligent species, that's a powerful lesson. And if they hadn't learned it? Patel's expression grew serious. Then humanity would have demonstrated that we can be as ruthless in defense as they were in conquest. But I much prefer this outcome. As the Assembly called to order to discuss interstellar transit regulations, with the Velox delegation offering surprisingly insightful proposals, Patel allowed herself a small smile. The Velox had arrived at Earth expecting to conquer a primitive world in 56 hours. Instead, they had been defeated in 18 minutes and found themselves joining a galactic community they hadn't known existed. It turned out that appearing weak when you were strong wasn't just good military strategy. Sometimes it was good diplomacy too. In the vastness of space, humanity had proven that cooperation could be more powerful than conquest, and even the mighty Velox Imperium, undefeated for 2 millennia, had to acknowledge that some lessons came swiftly and irrevocably. They had expected an easy victory. Earth had delivered an unexpected peace.